So, good evening, and welcome along to another big music show here on NVTV. Coming up on the show this week, we'll have one of Northern Ireland's finest female singers. Amanda St. John is going to be here. Also, singer-songwriter Barry Locke will be live in the studio. And starting things off, a man who's famous for his song Hit the Diff. Starting things off, here is Marty Mone.
Mowing, lifting, sowing, baling, drawing, hauling, and buck-raking, backing, stacking, ploughing, crash, sipping, rapping, till those flat, sucking, diesel, cutting, trucking, spreading, piping, double clutch, spinning, sliding, digging, rigging, rearing, leering, losing way. Oh, hit the diff and pray that she goes all the way. When I'm flat to the mat with the party hats, I'm heading for the tail. When the thought that we were quitting, well, when the sun went down, with a flame from the pipe, we drove all night till the fuel it ran out. Oh, give me oak with plenty of poke and a can of easy start, and 1,500 acres hauling 40 ton of grass. Well, I said goodbye before July to the woman in an awful rush, and it was near Christmas before I got back in touch. Well, I found to say, but I had no brakes, couldn't keep it cool. With loads of power right behind the now, so we give the pump a screw. Well, out all night waiting, no lights, only seeing stars and bloom from the moon and the diesel light in the dash. Mowing, lifting, sowing, baling, drawing, hauling, and buck-raking, backing, stacking, ploughing, crash, sipping, rapping, till those flapping, sucking, diesel, cutting, trucking, spreading, piping, double clutch, spinning, sliding, digging, rigging, rearing, sharing, losing way. No, hit the diff and pray that she goes all the way. When I'm flat to the mat with the party hats, I'm heading for the tail. Well, the thought that we were quitting, well, when the sun went down, with a flame from the pipe, drove all night till the fuel it ran out. Here we go. Slapping through the gears, send Snapchats of what I'm at to everyone on the beer. Hit the jewel low and start the road, all wheels in the air. It was my chance to graze the nipples I never knew was there. Well, I need some sleep and new teeth for digging the dozing in mug. In case it rains, need an old chain lying in the truck. Well, it's liming, mixing, piping after the field is cut. There's many's a gap you won't get at without 6,000 foot. Well, it's mowing, lifting, sowing, baling, drawing, hauling, and buck-raking, backing, stacking, ploughing, crash, sipping, rapping, till those flat, sucking, diesel, cutting, trucking, spreading, piping, double clutch, spinning, sliding, digging, rigging, rearing, sharing, losing way. No, hit the diff and pray that she goes all the way. When I'm flat to the mat with the party hats, I'm heading for the tail. Well, the thought that we were quitting, well, when the sun went down, with a flame from the pipe, drove all night till the fuel it ran out. Oh, hit the diff and pray that she goes all the way. When I'm flat to the mat with the party hats, I'm heading for the day. When the thought that we were quitting, cause the summer doesn't last, but we're heading to New Zealand, where the crack it only starts.
So what a great way to start the show this week. Hit the Diff from Marty Mone, and the man himself joins me now in the studio. Marty, how are you, sir?
Not too bad, all's good.
Good. That song Hit the Diff has become like an anthem, hasn't it, for you?
Well, yeah, it seems to be doing pretty well and still going strong. It's 4 years, I think, now at this stage, and it still seems to be going strong. So it's brilliant that it still has that power at this far on.
And when you were writing it, did you ever imagine how big it was going to become?
No, I didn't. I actually thought, I was building a wee studio at the time, and I thought of all the songs I wrote that it definitely wasn't going to be the one that, so when I put it out, it pretty much went out from the day I put it out. It just took off. It was instant, so no, definitely not. And the say in music, it's always a song you don't think that makes it, so that's surely proof.
Exactly, but it must be great when you're up there on stage doing one of your big gigs and the whole audience out there is singing that song along with you.
Oh, unbelievable. That is, it's very hard to get used to that at the start of something you were sitting in your house that only you knew about, and then all of a sudden all these people has took time to learn these lyrics that you were writing on a piece of paper. So it's actually amazing that when you're, you know, even yet I'm still not used to that, the feeling that gives you.
And I read somewhere that it was one of the most played songs here in Belfast on Spotify or something. People were playing
right.
it like mad.
That's right, on Spotify, yeah. And in Belfast, and you know, that's what I'm saying, the cities seems to be, you know, it's getting played in places and cities that you'd never imagine, you know, so it's strange that as well. So
But the thing about Belfast people when they're singing it, they haven't got a clue what they're singing. There's all kinds of dodgy words making its way
That's
into
right.
it.
I do notice that in the comments that the people are still a wee bit, they're still not sure, but I think people loves mystery, and I think that's why they love Many's famous song. There was words that people sung for years, the wrong words, and I think that makes the song even more popular when you don't know, you know.
Did you want to become kind of a well-known singer right from a very early age?
Well, it was started with the guitar. The singing, I never imagined myself being a singer when I was younger, but I was always into guitar from 10 years of age, and I always wanted to play guitar, and guitar was what got me into it. And I don't know where in the middle of it all, I can't even remember where I took this idea of starting to sing or even getting to do lead singing in bands. And in the middle of it all, I started to write music as well, and I don't really know where, even yet, it's like, where did this come, because the guitaring was all I really wanted to do. So then eventually, by 15, I was writing my own songs and playing in bands and doing a lot of lead singing. So the guitar was really what got me into it. And then now I'm nearly forgetting more on the guitar than I'm learning. It's all about writing and singing. So it's actually funny the way it goes, turns around.
And of course, at the time as well, you were driving lorries and tractors and things, and that kind of is what inspired Hit the Diff.
Well, that's it, yeah. So 10 years of age, I started to get into driving a wee bit, and I was working full time by 18 and playing in bands and driving for, I think it was, I suppose 15 years full time. And one day I took this notion, sitting in the cab of a lorry waiting to get the digger filling it. I was like, I'll put a lock of, you know, this line, give me a yoke with plenty of poke. He says, that's a good line to start. We'll start there. So then the song ended up 2 songs, which was Hit the Diff and Pray She Goes All the Way, and then the other song was Mowing, Lifting, Sowing, Baling part. So I was like, that's 2 good ideas. And then eventually I says, what happened if we put the 2 together? So I had 2 ideas that I put into one about my job, and then that was it. It's sort of, yeah, so it's I still have notepads or diaries in the lorry where I was meant to be. Instead of that was the lyrics wrote on the pages. So that's actually how it happened.
And the good thing about you as well, you do everything yourself. You've got the recording studio, you write your stuff, you produce everything in-house by yourself.
That's right, yeah. So that's it. You do all yourself, and sometimes it doesn't help, like even in environments of studio like this and that. Sometimes then that you're so used to doing stuff yourself, it's like, you know, hitting record and that. But I never thought that either. And when I was building my first, well, I suppose better studio, it was actually, I just done Hit the Diff. That was another thing I used to sort of record Hit the Diff in it. But I never thought I'd see the day where you'd be actually doing all that, which I really love that part of it as much as the live performing as well. Creating in the studio and doing all that part of it, it's very exciting because you don't know what's going to happen when you get up in the morning.
And do you enjoy making the music videos as well?
I do, yeah, I do. The biggest problem with that is ideas.
Yeah.
At least when you come up with an idea with a song, you can sort of create it there and then. You don't really have to, with videos, you know. And another thing with videos, Hit the Diff video was very simple. I took the photos on my phone at work, and that's the funny thing about it. It's the highest views, and to get the same views it has, I've tried all kinds of stunts since, and you know it's nearly impossible to get another song to catch it. But that's another thing. It's the videos. The simpler the video, the better they seem to be. But I really like them because it gets you out and about as well and doing things, you know, at the studio. And
you injured yourself, didn't you, on a quad bike or something from one of your videos?
That's right. The latest for the new album, Stay the Rear. So I was doing a kind of a car video and bikes and that, and I pushed it a bit too far and come off one of them. So I was in hospital for a while and that. So that delayed the thing a wee bit, but still it. I recovered, lucky enough. Well, I think I've recovered, other people haven't. But
tell us about the new album. It's out now.
Yeah, new album, Stay the Rear. So there's another 10 original songs on it. So it's a good mix. Like I said, Stay the Rear is a driving song, another driving song. That's like the follow-up. It's sort of like if you come to a junction, you'd hit the diff, then you'd slip the clutch, which was on the other album as well, which for the trucks, and then Stay the Rear. So it's like a 3-part series. So where it goes from here, I don't know. But on the album, then there's a mix of all kinds of music then as well. The first album was kind of mixed, brave mixed. This one is well mixed as well. So yeah, it seems to be going all right. And there's a few songs on it that it was a wee bit, I don't know what, but people seems to be, they're getting as much streaming and downloads as the others. So it's it's good to see, you know.
Well, we're going to finish now with a slightly slower song, aren't we?
That's right. This is a song called Better Than Dream. It's on the first album. I actually wrote this. This album was getting ready to send it master for print, and I actually wrote this song because I felt the album needed it. So now making my first album is my tour best selling song after Hit the Diff and Slip the Clutch. It's called Better Than the Dream. So it seems to be very popular at forced dances, weddings and stuff, and for all different things. So I'm glad that something so different and Hit the Diff is getting so much play as well, you know.
Brilliant. We'll hear it now. Marty, thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
No problem. Thank you very much.
So here we go, one more time. Here's Marty Mone.
Heard your thoughts of life's jigsaw in search of a missing piece. But I wonder what did float above us and what did lie beneath. Because I know I beat my goals, my life is not complete. 'Cause finding you was finding that lasting missing piece. And yes, it's true, it's because of you and everything you said. Make an ever with myself, to make an ever with my dad. And I just want you to know, now I had a dream made it, but from it you were free. 'Cause meeting you was better than any dream could be. In all your years of making this world a better place to be, I want to thank you for taking that time, spending time with me. Spending time with me. From we met, I don't regret a second that has passed. My only wish that time with you didn't go so fast. And from your eyes to butterflies, like a coat of many colors. Your voice is like a poem that runs into another. And your nice smile you can never hide, and how you make me feel. So I wrote this song with a pen that you give to me. And this is how it goes. When I had a dream made it, but from it you were free. 'Cause meeting you was better than any dream could be. In all your years of making this world a better place to be, I want to thank you for taking that time, spending time with me. Spending time with me. Spending time with me.
I built my dreams with you in mind, put my plan into motion, my plan into motion. I thought our paths, they both aligned, until I felt you pull away. I felt you pull away. And now it's time for me to start again. Break it down piece by piece and build my life again. And now it's time for me to love again, to love myself. Turn around, walk away. Things will never be the same again. I gave you too much of me, and your tears are far too late. I'm no longer listening. I gave you too just took us for granted, took us for granted. But I need more than that from you. So the trust it is broken, trust it is broken. And now it's time for me to start again. Break it down piece by piece and feel my life again. And now it's time for me to start again, to love myself. Yeah. Turn around, walk away. Things will never be the same again. I gave you too much of me, and your tears are far too late. I'm no longer listening. I gave you too much of me. Turn around, walk away. Things will never be the same again. I gave you too much of me, and your tears are far too late. I'm no longer listening. I gave you too much of me. Turn around, walk away. Things will never be the same again, 'cause I gave you too much of me. Your tears are far too late. I'm no longer listening, 'cause I gave you too much of me.
So that's a song called Walk Away from Amanda St. John, who joins us now in the studio. Amanda, how are you?
Hi there, Robin.
Good to see you. So tell us about the song Walk Away. What's the story behind that?
I suppose it's about that moment in a relationship where you start to feel like the other person's maybe backing off a wee bit, and you're doubting their commitment, and then it's like, right, I've lost trust in this person now, so walk away.
So that's one of your original songs, but for your latest gig and your latest show, you're kind of paying tribute to a lot of great female singers, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I've just finished recording an album in Muscle Shoals in Alabama, and the album is very heavily influenced by the likes of Aretha Franklin, Dusty Springfield, Etta James. And then when I was choosing the studio, I ended up going to Muscle Shoals, which Etta and Aretha both recorded in.
Right.
So I just love the songs, and I just thought, right, let's just do a show. So I'm going to be, it's a mixture of Dusty, Etta James, Aretha Franklin, and then a few of my own songs that were inspired by them as well.
So was Dusty and Aretha the kind of people you were listening to growing up?
Not until later years, actually. I grew up listening to Irish folk music, mostly,
Right.
and commercial radio.
Yeah.
So I actually grew up singing Christy Moore and Mary Black and all the Irish folk standards and that. And it wasn't until I went to college when I was 18, and one of my tutors introduced me to, like, I remember he played the Marvin Gaye What's Going On album, and my brain just went pachung. And since that, I've totally immersed myself. And I suppose I'd heard those artists, and as I was growing up, but it really was when I was kind of 18, 19 that I started really exploring them a wee bit more.
So when you're going to be performing those great artists on your show, are you doing your own kind of take on the songs?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, there's some that it's quite hard, especially with Aretha. It's like, how do you make this your own? But I think you have to. I don't want to mimic and it's nobody is as good as Aretha.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's make it me. It's telling the story. I've chosen songs I can relate to, and I'll just tell my version of the story.
So tell us about the show. Where can we come along and see it then?
I have gigs in the Portico of Ards.
Which I was in the other day, and it's such a lovely, lovely venue.
Isn't it a beautiful
it
venue?
Really is, yeah.
Stunning. I can't
Everybody
wait to play it.
Everybody should go and do a gig there. It's amazing.
It's a stunning venue. I can't wait to play that. That's in, I should have brought my dates. It's in October. So I have the Portico of Ards, I have Bennigan's in Derry, and I have Arthur's in Dublin as well.
Brilliant.
And the Spirit Store in Dundalk. So it's kind of like Belfast, Dublin, Dundalk, Derry, Portaferry.
So tell us about the experience of recording in the Muscle Shoals studios. That must have been an amazing experience.
Oh, it was incredible. It was quite surreal, actually, just walking in and you see all the discs on the wall and, everybody from, say, Aretha, Rolling Stones, Clarence Carter, Wilson Pickett, the Rolling Stones. There's so many people have recorded there. And you can actually feel the history, you can feel the vibe. So it was just amazing. I'm just standing in the vocal booth thinking, I kept thinking to myself, like, Aretha's been here, like this exact spot. So I was trying to channel all of those great artists and capture a wee bit of the energy. And we even worked with two of her musicians as well.
Wow.
So a bass player called David Hood, and a piano player called Clayton Ivey, and they have worked with everybody, Paul Simon, Sheryl Crow, all the greats, all the soul R&B stars. So yeah, it was pretty surreal.
So when can we get our hands on the album then?
I'm going to be releasing my first single in November, and the album will be out next year. I'm aiming for March, April next year.
Brilliant. So. Okay, well, if people want to get more information on that and more information on your tour dates, give us the website details.
It's amandastjohnmusic.co.uk.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
And of course, you're all over social media and stuff as well, aren't you?
Yeah, Amanda St. John Music on Facebook's probably the best place, yeah.
You're going to do one more original song for us now before you go. What are you going to do this time?
I think I'll do Muscle Shoals, actually. Yeah, it's a song called Muscle Shoals, inspired by the trip.
Looking forward to hearing this.
Thank
Amanda,
you.
Thank you for joining us. So here we go with Muscle Shoals. One more time, here is Amanda St. John.
Finish my shift just right on time. Work so hard, day by day. Need some time on my own. Going down to Muscle Shoals. Muscle Shoals. Everybody's gonna get their space. Music is where I find mine. Songs so deep, grooves so tight, you'll never feel alone down in Muscle Shoals. Songs of a near I can't help sing along. This is the soundtrack of my life. Brings me right back to my younger days. Rhythm takes control. Feet move on their own. In Muscle Shoals. Muscle Shoals. It's a moment of release. My heart and mind in unity. Days like this, I feel alive. A home away from home, down in Muscle Shoals. Songs of a near I can't help sing along.
pastureless, strong, never yield. Spare me these lies, homegrown on these fields. If my troubles are acorns, where my mighty use, the risk from the rule in the right way I rose. Standing in the back garden on the outside looking in, my bones burn riddles and spin. Standing in the back garden as the people pull the wire, the world was leveled in a blaze of fire, and the rivers run red though the earth turned its head. There's a murder of crows on the West River bed. Come to me, offer your hand, let me hold. Pull you to your feet lest your goals become cold. And I'll find you a star in the sky's darkened veil. If you find me afar through the wind in your sails. Standing in the back garden on the outside looking in, my bones burn riddles and spin. Standing in the back garden as the people pull the wire, the world was leveled in a blaze of fire. Though my heart bore the line that grew monsters inside, I turned off the radar, let go of my pride. The rivers run red, though the earth turns its head. There's a murder of crows on the West River bed. And in your arms I survived, onto your lies, in the silk of your company, grown wings butterfly. Through the crease cracking line, or in the mornings of time, if my heart's in your hands, then who's holding mine? If my heart's in your hands, then who's holding mine?
So that's a song called Red Rivers from Barry Locke, who joins me now in the studio. Barry, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. So tell us about that song now. What's the story behind Red Rivers?
Red Rivers came around, it's basically when I was beginning to plan my exit from Ireland. I was always wanting to go to London, and I wrote a song called One Will Make the Jump to kind of spearhead this whole conceptual project I had imagined for myself, where I would have a narrative. And so the second song in that is Red Rivers, where it's the journey across. Mm-hmm. And because it's not interesting enough to just have an airplane, which is where I went on, but I decided to imagine this whole process where it's this little ship caught in the tendrils of the ocean on the way across, and it's all very piratey and Celtic themed to match the bow of the ocean waves as they go dum 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 dum. So I quite like the imagery that created. So then all the lyrics kind of pertain to this person caught in adrift on their way across the ocean, trying to navigate this stormy sea, which is London, essentially.
So you're based in London now, but
yes.
Your journey started in your hometown of Bangor, and that's where we first met.
Yes,
in a shopping centre in Bangor.
Yes, yeah, it was the Bangor FM Search for a Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was years and years ago, and I still worked in the coffee shop, and on my lunch break I was allowed to audition, and then when it came to performance day, it was in the middle of the main foyer, just beside the coffee shop. I came and I did a Hallelujah really badly on guitar, but I came third, so it was okay.
And then fast forward about another 10 years maybe, and you ended up in another talent show that I was judging then as well.
Yes, Local Voco, yes. That was hilarious because at the time a friend of mine called Diona Doherty was doing the judging, and she mentioned that I should enter. And we were still very much involved in the comedy show FNT Live, and she suggested I take part, and I did. And then I went in not really knowing what to expect, or expecting not to get through at all, because I always struggle with my live performance. And I managed to clinch second place then and won £1,000, which I used to get to London.
Yeah. So was the plan always to go to London, or at some stage did you want to stay here and maybe work the circuit here?
Yes, well, I tried here for maybe just under a year. I had tried to do the circuit in Bangor. I didn't venture much into Belfast because I don't drive, and I was trying to keep it as local as possible. And whilst there were many opportunities in Bangor, it's obviously very easy for you to become like complacent about just the same sets and the same sort of songs that you play, and at the time I was piano based, and I was probably quite unique in the sense that most people are guitar.
Yeah.
But even I was feeling stagnant and stagnated by not being able to progress any further because I couldn't quite get to the next stage of gig level, and then I didn't drive and I didn't own any equipment, so I was constantly like renting from people, and it was just becoming like tiresome for everyone else as well as myself. And then we all studied in Chester, like University of Chester, for 3 years, and I did drama and theatre studies. And whilst I was doing that, I realised I could still compose, and I still composed all the music for most of the things that we took part in, which is how I got involved in F&T in the first place, because I do composition. And so I realised that my like skill level, or the kind of range of things that I could do, was probably worth exploring more. So London felt like the right thing.
Yeah.
And it was during our time at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival that I realised that kind of life of going from one little project to the next was actually what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I needed the opportunities, of course, and there was loads of them in London, so I went directly there to get them.
So it probably was a big risk going to London, but it has seemed to have paid off. I mean, every time I look on your social media, you're busy.
Yes, yeah, it's going really well. I'm quite lucky that I've kind of lumped in with quite a few people who are supporting me and pushing me as well. And I've got a really excellent team at the minute, which are helping me kind of craft this whole idea of what Locke music actually is. And what I'm realising over time is that it can be many things, and it's multifaceted.
Yes, yeah.
And Locke music is only one aspect of it, where it's all my solo personal stories that I turn into music. But I'm also part of a writing collective called QC197, and we write for other artists as well. You know, so it's very engaging, and we get like briefed on what kind of song they would like, and that's really enjoyable to try and break down like what actually is necessary or what's needed. And I really enjoy like working to someone else's specifications a lot of the time.
It's kind of like the olden days when Neil Diamond and people like that were starting out in New York. All these songwriters lumped together in the Brill building, and they were all writing for other artists before making it themselves, isn't it? Yeah,
it's very like that. It does feel very like the collaborative process, I think, is so useful, even just as a writer anyway. Like it's only through meeting someone else's ideas and in the halfway kind of point you understand like why your idea isn't working, because theirs makes more sense maybe, and then you marriage them, and it's like so excellent when you can get it like solidly done. You're like, yes, we got there together, and it's really fun. That's the best bit.
So you've released a few singles already, and they've been well received, haven't they?
Yes, it's well enough, but so far so good. I mean, they're climbing steadily as they go, and I think most of that is really just about trying to get them to the right people, because the kind of genre aspect of the first 3 singles is very much folk driven, but it has an eclectic and anthemic pop feel, which I'm really enjoying, and the chart aspect of it is certainly very something I'm trying to aspire to in order to kind of get people to hear what I'm doing. And very much still narrative driven too, which is excellent, because I was always worried that aspect would get lost in the translation of it, from going from a singer-songwriter folk song into a chart song. But I've been working with a producer called Jack Early, who's based in London, and he's fantastic. He's really good at just helping me decide what kind of like the themes and what kind of decisions need to be made, and sometimes they're quite brutal, but they work, you know. And it's without him I wouldn't be able to reimagine them in that way, so I'm very grateful that I got to work with him. He's a very good guy.
I know you've done some gigs in Belfast when you've been back this week. Is there more plans to come back and do some more? Yes,
yeah, I'm trying to configure this sort of programme where I come back every 6 weeks or so, and trying to do some local gigs and some local like open mic kind of circuits, just to kind of reinsert myself into the kind of circuit, because like when I left 5 years ago, whatever I had managed to build then has now gone, obviously, because I've left. So I have to kind of start again here, which I'm looking forward to doing, because Belfast is very much one of my favourite cities, and there's so much to it, and with everything that's happening now, there's so much more music than there ever was, and the people that are on the circuit now, like you've got like Nathan O'Regan, you've got Rachel McCarthy, and you've got like Stephen McCartney, all those amazing artists that come from Bangor and are able to like gig everywhere, and like those are the kind of people I want to be like assimilated with, essentially, because I feel so connected to them now, that I've like done some work with them or whatever, or met them at some stage in their journey, and it's all very engaging and very exciting, really. So
if people want more information, is there a website they can check out?
yeah, I mean, my social media is a mess, but the best one I think is Instagram, which is just BarryLocke75 on Instagram. I'm very active on there because I like images and I like strong kind of visuals, essentially. The next one, of course, is Barry Locke Music, which is on Facebook, like Facebook / Barry Locke Music. And that will give you access to all of my posts anyway, which I share on Twitter and SoundCloud or Spotify and iTunes. Everything is on there, which is where you would find like a central hub of all the things that I'm actually doing.
You're going to do one more song before you go. What are you going to do this time?
I'm going to do Tombs. It was my first single back in February, and it's definitely my friends and family's favourite song that I've done, so I want to do a live version of that to kind of show people what it can sound like in a live setting.
Great stuff. Well, Barry, thank you so much for coming and joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Waiting, fading, fiery shackles and chains of containment. Baited, breathing, the light it plays in the shades of my temperament. In the darkness I can see what it's worth and what it'll never be. There's a black dog settling outside your room. Don't let your walls become your tomb. The sand and water, the bricks and mortar. Don't let your walls become your tomb. Canine in my party paws and past peripheries. Will I, won't I, tumble down the walls of my kingdom? In the darkness I can see for what it's worth and what it'll never be. There's a black dog settling outside your room. Too many days to kind, but what you gonna do? Oh, there's sand and water, the bricks and mortar. Oh, don't let your walls become your tomb. Don't let your walls become your tomb. And don't close your eyes. Stay tonight. Will you? And dot your eyes and cross your T's with your eyes. Light my two. There's a black dog settling outside your room. Too many days to kind, but what you gonna do? Oh, the sand and water, the bricks and mortar. Oh, don't let your walls become your tomb. Oh, don't let your walls become your tomb. Oh, don't let your walls become your tomb. Don't let your walls become your tomb.